can see we've been joined by Mikel Arteta. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That was an impressive second half comeback.
Yeah, I think we showed a lot of composure and quality. I think we didn't started to play the game that they wanted to play, even though at 1-0 probably wasn't the result that we were expecting. But we kept pushing, believing, and I think we deserve to win.
Yeah, and in terms of the goals, important goals for each of those players individually for different reasons. But can we kind of go from the end backwards? Because Eddie Nketiah's goal was not just a great goal to watch, a thing of beauty, but also the reaction, both from the fans and his teammates and you, how important that was for him.
I just gave him a big hug because he deserves that. He totally earned it the way he played today again. And it was a very typical Eddie Nketiah goal. I think you showed here his strength, his quality, the timing, the composure, the finishing. Just for me, it was an outstanding performance from him.
I just wanted to add something, Mikel. The goal is a typical Arsenal goal that I've seen this year. First and foremost, desire to get the ball back from Bukayo Saka on the side. Then after, composure to stay lucid in and around the box. Even Ben Wright, I thought he was going to shoot. I'm like, no, don't do that. Chip the ball over. Movement and the turn of Eddie was just like a center. When you play basketball, he just stepped in, made him believe, and then after, you know that he has the composure to finish. But I saw that you had an extra more, I would say, how can I put that? You were a bit more happy for him because that, no, but that's also, you know, that backs what you were saying at the beginning and what you believe and what you know he can produce.
Absolutely, and you could feel in the last few games he's been trying and he didn't score even there are friendlies, but he's got the capacity to do that. We saw it every single day in training, and that will give him confidence.
And he's returned for you 11 Premier League starts, 11 goals is very, very impressive. Obviously, that was his first start this season, and that's because, you know, a gap has opened up with Gabriel Jesus. But when you know you can rely on a player like that, that is how leagues are won, with squads. This is not going to just be about 11 men this season.
But he showed it last year at the end of the last season when we played in more consistently. When you look at his numbers, they are really, really good. And I'm really pleased again to see what he's done today.
And of course, we just saw Bukayo Saka walk past there. He got you going, and with his goal as well. And you've had other players on the pitch who've come back from the World Cup. You must be very pleased with their response out there.
Yeah, because you don't know. Obviously, they're coming from a different dynamic. They played a huge tournament that it means the world for them.
And with his goal as well, and you've had other players on the pitch who've come back from the World Cup. You must be very pleased with their response out there.
Yeah, because you don't know. Obviously, they're coming from a different dynamic. They played a huge tournament that it means the world for them. And to get back 5-6 days later, play another competitive Premier League game is a big change. But those boys, they were really eager to get back. I could see that from the first day, and they've shown a real desire today to be part of the team.
Thierry said something just then before you arrived about teams starting to look afraid, and that is something that you have to create as a team, don't you? And you do that by performances, you do that by winning and the style of play. Is that something that's concerted, that you design, or does it come, and you've been there with Manchester City, you've seen teams?
I don't know, we cannot control what the opponents feel. We can control how we want to play, what we want to transmit as well. I think is really important. That's why this crowd behaves the way it behaves towards the team. And yeah, if you get that fear factor, I think that's a big bonus, obviously.
We just heard Bukayo also tell us that Gabriel Jesus and Zinchenko, how important they are in terms of spreading belief and desire from their experiences. You're smiling, you know that. That's why you brought them here, to deliver that and to kind of transmit that message. And it's clearly going through your very young squad.
Well, they've been in probably the most successful team that the Premier League have seen for many, many years. And they have the belief in their teammates, in what we are doing, that we are capable of playing to those standards. And these guys have brought that confidence to the team.
Did you foresee, and you have a plan for your season, what you can achieve, did you foresee yourself on Boxing Day going to bed 7 points clear?
I have a big plan, which is go home and watch the game and make sure that the next day we play better than we played today. That's the plan.
I don't suppose in that plan Newcastle United were the second team who were behind you, 7 points behind you tonight.
It's so far to go. We can focus on what we do, and that's it. What the other teams are going to do, I have no idea. What I can tell you is that we can still get much better.
And you feel there's more to come from this young squad, clearly. I mean, some of these players, you know, are still very much at the infancy of their careers, aren't they? Producing great football for you.
There is huge room for improvement in many, many areas, individual and collectively. And as you said, they are so young, so imagine.
You mentioned there, Mikel, that you see improvement in the performance. Was the result more important than performance tonight, to get that momentum back, to just get back to winning ways, that momentum that you built before the World Cup?
Obviously, the results at the end brings momentum, brings belief, and is a consequence of what we do. But we focus in the way we play, the way we compete, individual and collectively, and the result will be a consequence of that. We cannot control in football. You cannot control. They come one time, they score a goal, it's a penalty, the referee makes a decision. Yeah. What you can control is what you can do as a team, and that's where we focus.
We'll go and enjoy the rest of your festive break. And you said earlier on you were going to offer a sherry to David Moyes, so maybe you're going to go
do that now. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and enjoy the match when you watch it back.
Was 3-1 about right, or was it tough on your team?
No, I think Arsenal played really well. We were 1-0 up at half time, and a little bit fortunate to be 1-0 up. They played really, really well, but we defended well, done a lot of really good jobs, had one or two moments, but no, we were probably a bit fortunate to be 1-0 up at half time, and in the end, the goals we conceded were incredibly disappointing from our point of view. But look, I don't think you can fault that Arsenal played well.
I suppose the good point about this time of year is you don't have to wait long before you can set the record straight and get back at it.
Yeah, we've got to get back at it. We've got to try and find some of our best form, and we've not been far off it, but we've been lacking early in the season. We've been lacking in scoring goals, and to be fair, defensively we've been okay, but tonight I didn't like what we've done in the second half.
This is a very new situation for everyone, with the World Cup being in the middle of the season. How has it been for you reintegrating everybody? How have you found it, everyone coming back in?
To be fair, the boys have made it really easy with me. They were all wanted to come back earlier than what we expect them to be. They were all eager to come back and be part of the team, and I could see that right from the beginning. So they didn't make it so hard for me, to be fair.
Yeah, great comeback from Arsenal, 10 consecutive home victories in the Premier League now. Starting to look like the real deal, as is Bukayo Saka, who's also excellent for England in the World Cup.
Yeah, he was. I was really impressed with the performance today. It's 3 years to the day since Arteta took over. There was no panic. It was a measured performance when they went 1-0 down, and then they went in at half-time, and then they came out after the break and they upped everything. But at the heart of everything was Saka, and who was going to stand up today without one of their main men, of course, in Jesus being injured, and it was Saka that did that. Everything he did. I mean, he's such a gutsy personality, on top of his incredible ability. I mean, he was really unlucky there. It's a clever finish, but he was just offside, and it was the right decision. But that was sort of what he was going to offer, set the tone. He was the one that was going to run in behind, give Cresswell a really difficult time down that right-hand side. His give and go, and he found it really difficult to mark him there, and he was always trying to face him up like that and say, OK, then give the go, and then watch this for a weighted pass with a left foot into Ben White, who I thought was really impressive as well. This is a clever goal, because he could run in straight away. He assesses the situation there, and he looks along the line, and then he times his run. OK, that shot's not meant for him, but have a look at his first touch, the way he sort of puts it into his path, which then sets him up when he's not offside, and it sets him up to be able to do that, to tuck it away in the corner so calmly. And look at his strength. He's up against one of the best players in the league there in midfield. He's probably a foot bigger than him, 2 or 3 stone heavier than him, but the way he barges Declan Rice off the ball to set Arsenal again on the front foot, and then they get the finish. OK, keeper should save that, but the give, the goals and all of that, and I said the way it passes into Odegaard. What an incredible talent he is. And it was always going to be who was going to stand up, and for me, he...
exceptional player.
Yeah.
The front three all scored, Dion.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth having a look at Eddie Nketiah's goal, wasn't it? I mean, some beautiful football in the build-up.
Yeah, I like this goal. It's just because they lending the ball to each other, nice triangle, scoring an Arsenal goal. Watch Eddie Nketiah here. Watch his preparation. Left arm out, and then the right arm out. All he's doing there is feeling for his defender. When he can feel the defender on his left arm, he'll spin right, and vice versa. Watch this from this angle. He lifts up, he finds out where Kehrer is, left arm, and then the right arm. Kehrer goes over to the right-hand side, he spins left. It's the perfect centre-forwards goal. Roll your defender, strike the ball across the goalkeeper as well, just in case he saves it, it comes out to one of your teammates. But that, for Eddie Nketiah, is brilliant. That's now 11 goals in 11 starts at the Emirates for him, so he's in good form. Played really well.
Not a care in the world. 5 straight wins have moved Newcastle into 3rd.
To Alan McCoist, who's part of the UK broadcasting services for that game. Now, that was interesting. And Nketiah's there saying he's been praying his whole life for moments like this.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, game time is coming by very rarely, and it's quite easy, I suppose, to snatch at your chances. We saw that earlier, right, with Ollie Watkins and Darwin Núñez, but the 1 or 2 chances that came his way, he made the keeper work, certainly.
Yeah, and that's what you got to do, because, like, you know, that Jesus is what they're talking about February. Whenever he comes back, hopefully by that time, Eddie will have built a good body of work in respect of what he's done, his link-up plays, you know, his goals, the chances he's got, and, you know, and can he take them, because Jesus will play when he gets back, so he knows that his time is short. And what you've got to do when you're in that position, I was quite fortunate, I was never in that position, is that you've got to come in and you have to perform. It's like the question, he's asking him the question there about knowing from the World Cup if, you know, that Gabriel Jesus is not going to be fit, so you're going to be playing. He will have been thinking about that because he has to take this chance. That's why Arsenal have invested in him. So they've signed him to a long contract, because they know what he's capable of. And he's come in today and he's done it. He's shown what he's capable of.
But reflective, too, of a decent attitude, right?
Good attitude. When he gets in that position, we said before the game, this guy can finish. We've watched games today where, you know, it's not the centre-forward strength, let's say, being an absolute killer in front of goal. This lad does finish.
Yeah.
He's a born finisher. You can just tell in front of goal, he just looks like a finisher. He's calm, he's collected. All the pressure in the world can be on you, but when you're a goal scorer, that's what you've honed your skills all your life to do. And things like almost calm down when you're in front of goal, when you're about to ply your trade.
Yeah.
That's when you almost go calm and cool, and this is what I'm meant to do. This is what I'm born to do. This is what I practice to do. And his goal tonight was beautiful. Absolutely brilliant. I love the way he felt for his man. I mean, I wasn't a player that did that. I didn't want to really get into a tussle with the centre half because I wasn't strong enough. But he just felt where he was. He knew where he was, and then he rolled him not in a strength way, just in a feel way. Just, you know, knew where his defender was, and I just thought it was a brilliant goal. As soon as he lifted his head up, he's gone for a power, yes, but a lot of accuracy with the side of his foot. It's a beautiful finish. Right, really good goal, that one.
It's a good point, actually, because when he receives the ball, he's got no right to score from there, right?
Well, what's happened is that the ball was played into him, and the fact that the defender is too close. You can only roll a defender when he's too close. He's got too close. You can feel him. The ball's got a nice pace on it, and you just move it. Defender's on the wrong side, and then, you know, it's up to you to be able to recognise that you can roll him, and then it comes down to the finish. You have to hit the target. From where Eddie was there, his head was down, his technique was perfect, and, you know, he's got it in the side netting.
And let's not forget, Arsenal had to come back from behind at half-time. So what did they do differently second half to the first?
It's like Michael made a good point when we watched it, the width. I think that West Ham were narrow and Arsenal were too narrow. You look at them here. Arsenal, look at the width.
Were they playing into West Ham's hands?
A little bit, yeah. They were, very much so, because look at that. There's no space for Arsenal to do what they wanted to do, get people on the ball with time in those little areas there, like the goals, what we saw. So you saw there how tight it was. And when you look at this now, good strength there from Saka with Declan Rice. But then you look at Gabriel Martinelli down here. I think we're going to see Ben White up the top. And then you can look at the space he's able to pick that ball up in, simply because of the width they've got now. The right back and the left back have got massive problems because this situation can happen. Can't get there in time, and then he scores. And this is the goal again. You've got someone operating in that area there, because look at the width again. You can see how wide they are. Look at it there, look. Bam. So then, you know, now look at Eddie Nketiah. There's space in front of him now. So now once Ødegaard comes in here, look, now he can roll him and then bang. And that's what wasn't happening in the first half.
It's all about stretching the back four. And half of the time, it's not for that wide player to score the goal, even though Martinelli did in the first instance. But the second one was to isolate Nketiah so he can roll his man. Before that, Cresswell would have been almost doubled up on him. But as soon as you stretch the play, you almost isolate certain individuals then. And I think that was the key in the second half. Arsenal just continued to do what they were doing, but just did it with a bit more width.
So what do Arsenal do when the window opens, because they've only got one game left before January the 1st. Do they strengthen from a position of power here right now?
I think so.
I mean, Mudrik's obviously been linked.
Which would be great. You know, I think, God forbid anything happened to Eddie Nketiah now, he'd be in serious trouble. Probably they could put Martinelli in there, but that would take away from the left side. But I think Arsenal, with what they're doing now and the trajectory they're on, they do need to maybe get another striker simply because they're going to have to. You have to compete with Liverpool and City and United and all of them. You have to make sure that you can get somebody in who's going to add to the team, not just somebody that you're bringing in to replace Jesus because he's injured, somebody who's going to add to the team even when Jesus is there, because Arsenal can't afford to do that. Can't afford to get the transfers wrong anymore, Arsenal. We saw what happened with us when we've done that before. So now this is why I believe that they'll probably try and get somebody in January. And if it is Mudryk, then brilliant. But, you know, they'll try and get somebody.
OK, let's get some reaction from a West Ham perspective, shall we? Let's hear from their midfielder, Declan Rice.
Because obviously West Ham set really high standards last year. You've been doing really well in Europe this season. What's missing in the league?
I think just the results. I think it's a tough one because, you know, there's been games when we've played unbelievably well and not had the results. Obviously tonight we've not played the best, and we haven't got the result. But in other games we've probably not scored as much. We have created the chances in other games, but just not put the ball in the back of the net. And, you know, in the Premier League that's the main thing, you know, because now they're starting for a little gap to, you know, there's a little gap arriving now in the league, and, you know, we're finding ourselves at the bottom end of the table at the minute. For sure, the tables will turn and we'll push ourselves back up there, but it's a little bump in the road at the minute that we need to get out of, and, you know, we're all positive and believe that we can beat Brentford on Friday.
4 straight defeats in the Premier League, and for West Ham, it still doesn't make good reading, does it, for their supporters? On 14 points, just 1 point shy of the bottom 3. Still so much football to be played this season. But how much trouble are West Ham in right now?
Well, there is a long way to go. I think that we'll be confident. I don't think people will be saying the R word and talking about relegation just yet with West Ham. They were so good last season that you don't really, you know, still believe that they can get caught up in that type of trouble. But at the moment, they're not playing that well. They're not scoring many goals either. And there's a spark missing from last season. But, you know, that can change. As I say, I don't really look at them and fear for them at the moment.
No. Are they playing like a team that's 1 point above the bottom 3?
No, they look like a team that shouldn't be 1 point above the bottom 3. When you look at the midfield, Souček with Rice, and then you've got Paqueta, quality player. They didn't seem to play through the midfield, and I'm not like Bowen's trying to get himself going now because he was playing really well at the start of the season, and they don't seem to be able to break on teams. I didn't feel worried about them today too much. I thought that the centre halves in the end had them, but I didn't think there's enough in the midfield for them, enough creativity.
That's a big smile on your face right now, Ian. I mean, big questions were being asked of Arsenal over the last few weeks as soon as they found out Gabriel Jesus was going to be out until late Feb. How impressed were you in the way they came back against West Ham?
I was very impressed. You know, questions were asked because he's such an integral figure to everything what Arsenal are doing. But obviously, you know, with other people chipping in, you're hoping that they can hit the form what they were playing with before they got to the World Cup, and they did. You know, yes, it was a bit of a worry when West Ham went ahead, but I was quite pleased that they never at any stage let their heads drop. They didn't panic. They continued to play how they've been playing, you know, trying to get through these little pockets, and it wasn't happening in the first half because West Ham defended well in the first half.
Yeah, all eyes then on Eddie Nketiah to fill in the considerable boots of Gabriel Jesus, and he certainly didn't let his manager or his supporters down.
No, he played well. He's a different type of player to Jesus, as we know. I love this goal that he scored. He was a real goal scorer. I mean, OK, he might not contribute as much as Jesus would in a game overall, but he will contribute as many goals. I'm pretty sure about that. It's such a good finish. Yeah. I mean, it's with accuracy, there's power in it. The way he feels the defender and rolls him is top class. I mean, there's a man sort of... you know, showing his skills that he's practiced all his life. And there's a man that's going to be out for a little while, and Nketiah is going to have to try to fill his boots, but so far so good for him.
And the fact that Nketiah has had to feed on scraps, right, just minutes across this season so far, how important was it for him to show that Arteta he's still got that in him? Well,
what was good is that, you know, Arsenal have invested a lot into him. They gave him a very good new contract, which I think he deserved the way he finished the season last season, and he's just waiting for this chance. Now, with Jesus getting the injury, it's up to him to come in and show that, yes, this is why I've got the new deal, because they've got faith in me and I can repay the faith. And he done that today. Played very well. Everybody's talking about, oh, what's going to happen now? Jesus is injured. Are Arsenal going to continue? And they've kept it going. They've kept the momentum going, and they've done it from coming from a goal behind. I thought it was really, really good. I was really impressed with Arsenal today.